Heartwarming twist, poor mother and daughter's 5-year journey reveals incredible CEO connection. Lily stepped into the diner before the sun had a chance to rise. The fluorescent lights hummed softly overhead as she flicked the switch, illuminating the weary booths and linoleum floor that had seen better days. Flour dusted her apron like a badge of honor as she shaped dough for the morning's biscuits. With each knead, she pressed in hope and resilience, imagining a brighter future for her and her daughter, Emma. The rich aroma of coffee began to fill the air, wrapping around them like a comforting embrace. At home, Emma sat at the kitchen table, her textbook sprawled out in a chaotic yet familiar arrangement. The clock ticked insistently, reminding her of the chores yet to complete before her school day began. "Mom, can you help me with math?" she called, her voice wavering between excitement and worry. Together, they rushed to get Emma ready, using their morning routine as a dance of unity and purpose, a rhythm they had choreographed over years of persevering against the odds. One glance at their small, cluttered house spoke volumes of their unwavering love, with dreams of prosperity echoing from the walls. It was a world of little victories, dinners crafted from discounts and reminiscing about their day at school. They laughed, shared stories, and ignited plans for the future, brushing aside the weight of the low wages that often suffocated their existence. In the heart of their town, Emma's schedule was packed. She juggled classes at the community college with her part-time job at Harrison's. Yet, despite the burden, she and Lily found various moments of joy, like snickering over leftover pie or creating art from nearly forgotten materials. Together, they represented the spirit of their community, rallying around local bake sales and neighborhood cleanups, witnessing the beauty of collaboration. But things changed suddenly when Emma heard about Sarah's charity gala. A local CEO, known for her grandiose horizons, was hosting the event. Emma's heart raced with excitement, for this was their chance, perhaps a way to catch a glimmer of hope among the influential figures she dreamt could change their lives. "Mom, we should go," Emma exclaimed. Nervous but hopeful, Lily agreed, as Emma's determination reignited her own faith. As the evening arrived, the gala housed an air of sophistication that hung uncomfortably among the vibrant energy of the small town. But when Emma confronted Sarah for the first time, the warmth transformed into coldness. Misunderstandings clanged like distant bells as wealth and struggle collided. Emma's voice trembled yet resonated with sincerity as she spoke of her community's needs, sparking an electric awareness in the room that sidestepped egos and assumed narratives. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days later, Sarah couldn't shake Emma's impassioned words. She felt a flicker of recognition within her accomplishments and regrets. While Emma rallied her friends for a community initiative, Sarah found herself reflecting on her upbringing. Just as friendships began to form between their worlds, Emma uncovered a truth about Sarah's past, a shared struggle that drew them closer, but in a heated town hall meeting, everything hung in the balance. Emma stepped forward, her heart racing, delivering a speech filled with urgency and dreams. She spoke of hope and resilience, while Sarah grappled with her insecurities, questioning her own definition of success. The atmosphere was thick with anticipation. Would Sarah step forward to offer Emma that life-changing opportunity? The tension lingered, leaving the community and readers alike hanging on the edge, eager for what might unfold next. Emma stood at the podium, her gaze sweeping over the crowd gathered in the town hall. There was an electricity in the air, fueled by the tension surrounding her speech. Faces reflected hope, doubt, and curiosity. She could feel their eyes on her, each person weighing her words like precious currency. Inspired by the struggle she'd witnessed in her community, Emma took a deep breath and let the fire within her blaze. "It starts with us," she declared, her voice rising steadily. We've faced challenges that could drown dreams, but together, we've risen above. We've created hopes right here in our community, and we continue to do so every single day. Emma passionately articulated their vision, weaving threads of unity and perseverance, the unsung heroes of working families echoing through her speech. Sarah, seated at the back, found herself leaning forward. She was torn between her position in the corporate world and the echo of Emma's message. Memories from her own childhood flashed through her mind, hard days filled with uncertainty, the weight of bills piling up, her mother's fierce determination to provide. Was she honoring that background or betraying it with each public success? Each step Emma took, each heartfelt word that tumbled forth, was a reminder of where she came from. As Emma concluded, a reverberating hush fell over the room. Let us not just depend on the amazing individuals we see in high places, she said, but believe in the power within each of us. Together, we can rebuild our community, piece by piece, heart by heart. A local activist raised a hand, a soft clap emerging from the back began to ripple through the audience. Others soon joined until a thunderous applause filled the space. Emma's heart raced, adrenaline spiking through her veins. In that moment, she felt as if she could touch the sky, but Sarah was standing now, a whirlwind of emotions battling within her. She pushed aside her own doubt, stepping forward. The room quieted, all eyes on her. I've heard what you've shared, Emma, she began, her voice trembling and raw. You remind me of who I once was. The hesitation weighed heavy, but Emma locked eyes with her, silently urging her on. Maybe it's time for a new chapter. I'd like to offer an internship program for students in this community, starting with you, Emma. Gasps rippled through the audience, some clapping, others whispering in disbelief. The tension cracked, transformed into ripples of excitement, yet as cheers erupted around them, Emma noticed Sarah's expression waver, a shadow crossing her face. Had she truly come to her decision, or was this a moment stirred by the energy of the crowd? The future hung precariously in the air, and Emma's heart soared, yet a small voice of uncertainty remained. Could she trust this opportunity? Was Sarah prepared to pave a genuine path forward for those like her, or was this simply a moment of goodwill stirred by guilt? Just then, a loud crash echoed through the hall, drawing the attention of everyone. A man stumbled in, breathless and frantic. You need to see this. It's urgent. There's been an incident at the factory. Every eye turned towards him, and the charged atmosphere shifted once again. Emma's heart sank as dread enveloped her. As commotion erupted around them, she wondered how this would impact their plans. Could their dreams withstand the pressures to come? In that instant, the fragile thread of hope wavered, with new challenges looming ahead. What could possibly happen next as chaos threatened their freshly woven dreams? Emma's heart raced, knowing a new chapter in their journey was teetering at the edge of uncertainty. The gasp that swept through the hall felt like a punch in the gut. Emma glanced at the man, his wild eyes darting across the room, panic etched into every feature. What happened? She called out, her voice steady despite the churning dread in her stomach. That he took a moment to catch his breath, mouth opening and closing as he tried to find the words. Finally, he managed. The factory roof collapsed. Some of the workers, they can't get out. We need help. A cacophony erupted. Chairs scraping back, murmurs swirling, a storm of fear and confusion. Emma felt her heart pound against her chest, the earlier excitement dimming against the enormity of the situation. Everyone, please. Emma raised her hands, trying to restore order. We need to stay calm and focus. Sarah stepped closer to Emma, her face pale. What do we do? She whispered, urgency in her tone. Emma thought quickly. We need to mobilize support. Call the emergency services. Does anyone have a phone? Her gaze darted through the crowd. This wasn't just about them anymore, it was about lives. Hands shot up. I have mine, shouted a local businessman, already dialing on his phone. Others moved, organizing volunteers to head to the factory, some rushing to grab first aid kits and others to direct traffic. The room's energy shifted, the initial fear morphing into swift determination. As Emma worked alongside Sarah, fear transformed into fierce resolve. "We have to make sure everyone gets to safety," she urged. "That's our priority." But even as plans unfolded, Emma's heart ached for those trapped inside the factory, men and women with stories and families, just like hers. There was no time for doubt now, she had to keep her mind sharp, focus on the task at hand. Suddenly, Sarah's phone rang. She glanced down, a flicker of hope illuminating her face. "It's my boss. Maybe he can send help." Emma nodded, grateful for any assistance. She watched as Sarah spoke with fervor, her indignation blending with the urgency of the moment. When Sarah hung up, her expression wavered. "He's dispatching a team, but..." The words hung heavily in the air like a dark cloud. "What?" Emma pressed. She needed to know. "He said that funds for the factory's repairs are on hold. There's no guarantee they can get equipment there in time." The implications hit Emma hard. So, if he's right, those workers could be in real danger. In that moment, Emma realized that the dreams she had been weaving for her community also hung in the balance with the fate of these workers. The vision of rebuilding felt less tangible now, yet an ember ignited within her a fierce determination to fight for their lives. "Sarah," Emma said, catching her breath. "We can't let them down. This is our chance to prove what we can do together." The crowd was still buzzing with activity, but Emma felt a sense of clarity. They could organize. They could push back against the odds. And with that sense of purpose came a wave of hope. Just then, the man who had burst in earlier returned, his eyes even more frantic. "There's more. I overheard some workers talking about dangerous conditions before the roof collapsed. This wasn't just an accident." A murmur rippled through the crowd, eyes wide with disbelief. Emma exchanged worried glances with Sarah, the gravity of the situation deepening. The struggle for justice was beginning to unfold before their eyes, woven into the very fabric of their community. What would they do next? Would they confront the complications that lay ahead? As Emma rallied the crowd, she could feel the momentum building, but uncertainty loomed. Could they truly make a difference when everything felt stacked against them? Emma's heart raced as she faced the crowd, the energy crackling in the air. She could see determination in their eyes, mingled with fear. "We need volunteers to check for survivors," she shouted, hoping to harness the growing sense of urgency. "Everyone else, stay here and support those who are going to help. We can't lose anyone else today." Hands shot up again, folks ready to move. Helpers scrambled out of the hall, some rushing to their cars and others sprinting to the factory. Emma felt a rush of gratitude for this community, but bitterness bubbled beneath. How could this happen? The thought of negligence made her stomach turn. "Emma." Sarah's voice cut through her thoughts. "I think we should check on the injured. The first aid kits, a lot of people might need them. Let us go." Emma nodded, shadows of doubt flickering in her mind. Yet that ember of determination fueled her feet, leading her alongside Sarah towards the factory. Every step felt weighted. But the time for fear was behind her. She had to act. As they approached the wrecked building, the air became heavy with dust and smoke, a stark reminder of the dangers within. Emma choked down panic, her eyes darting to the debris. "We have to be careful," she whispered, fear gripping her voice. "We don't know what's inside." They joined a small group of volunteers, each scanning the wreckage for any signs of life. The sounds of muffled cries reached them, and hope danced in Emma's chest. She inched closer to the entrance, peering into the chaos. With each collapsed beam and shattered glass, her heart sank deeper. They were risking their lives just by being here. Where was the help Sarah's boss promised? Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from somewhere deeper in the factory. All of them froze, fear paralyzing the moment. "Is anyone in there?" someone shouted. But there was only silence. Stay calm, Emma instructed, her voice stronger than before. We need to keep searching. They could be trapped. They moved cautiously, swaying between giant shards of debris. Then, out of the corner of her eye, Emma spotted a man lying still, his leg pinned beneath a heavy beam. Over here. She called, rushing toward him, her heart pounding in her ears. Help me, he groaned softly. Emma knelt beside him, feeling the weight of the beam, and panic unfurled once more. We need to lift it, she instructed Sarah, who had come to her side. Ready? On three. As they heaved, a jolt of pain was etched on the man's face. She felt his struggles, his fear. Just a little more, Emma urged, sweat beading on her forehead. They finally shifted the beam, and he winced as he pulled his leg free. You're gonna be okay, Emma said firmly, though the uncertainty gnawed at her. Just then, the distant wail of sirens pierced through the smoky air, a sound of hope. Help is coming. Someone shouted from behind them, generating a surge of relief. Feeling buoyed by their valiant efforts, Emma glanced around. The volunteers worked as a team, tirelessly, ferociously harnessing the spirit of community that had been buried beneath the strain of hard times. Yet there was still a weight in the air. The man looked up at her, fear still evident in his eyes. I can't get out of here. They'll find me in the rubble. Emma hesitated, grappling with the urgency of the moment. We'll get you out, I promise. But as she spoke those words, another thought gripped her. If this was just one incident among many, then deeper issues must be addressed, issues beyond the physical pain of this moment. Just as hope ignited, a horrific thought flickered through her mind. What if their fight for safety extended far beyond this day? As they waited for the paramedics, Emma locked eyes with the man. You said they were talking about conditions before. What did you mean? His gaze was heavy with truth. This isn't just a freak accident, lady. It's bigger than we thought. People are in danger every day. Answers loomed in the shadows, dark and looming. They could change everything. Emma's heart raced at the implications. How far would they have to go to protect each other? And as sirens grew louder, she felt a distinct shift in her core. This moment was only the beginning. Would they have the courage to stand up against the dangers hidden within their community? Emma's thoughts echoed as she grasped the weight of the man's words. The sirens rang closer, yet an unshakable sense of dread clung to her. She scanned the wreckage, focusing on the faces of the volunteers around her. They were tired, some had tears streaking their faces, but they pressed on, driven by a purpose that lit the air. Emma, do you think we'll be ready for all of this? Sarah's voice brought her back. Emma sensed the unspoken question swirling in the air. What if this was just the tip of the iceberg? I don't know, she replied, her voice steady even as her heart raced. But we have to find out. As paramedics arrived, they poured out of their vehicles, urgency fueling every movement. The scene transformed, chaos began to take on a semblance of order. Emma felt a flutter of hope, yet unease bubbled under her skin. She didn't want to lose sight of the grim warnings the man had conveyed. Stay here with him, she instructed Sarah before turning back towards the entrance of the factory. I need to check on the others. People could still be trapped. With determination, Emma stepped deeper into the factory. Each crunch under her feet reminded her of the gravity of their situation. The air was thick with dust and despair, but she pushed through. There were faint sounds of whimpering and cries for help, the very lifeblood of her resolve. She stumbled upon another group of volunteers working to clear away debris. Someone shouted her name, and she turned to find Jacob, a father with his own children waiting at home. Emma, we found another person. But we can't get him out. His worry mirrored her own. Where? She asked urgently, following him to a corner where an older man struggled underneath a pile of rubble. Together, they worked to free him, lifting heavy beams, feeling the intense heat of exhaustion. Each moment felt like an eternity. Every mutter of pain from the man beneath sent a pang through her heart. But they were not giving up. With a final push, they freed him. "Thank you," he gasped, but his eyes glimmered with more than gratitude. There was fear contained within them. "They'll come for me, they always do." "What do you mean?" Emma asked, the pit in her stomach growing. The man looked around, paranoia knitting his brows. "This is just the start. They don't want us to talk." Just then, a loud crash echoed from deeper within the factory, sending everyone into a frantic state of alertness. "We have to go," Jacob yelled, grabbing Emma's arm. "No. There might be someone else," she shouted back, torn between the urge to flee and the ache to help. At that moment, the factory groaned, as if it was warning them to leave. Emma's heart raced, but she felt a silent agreement from the group. They couldn't get out without knowing the truth. "Listen," Emma shouted over the noise. "We need to find out what is going on here. We can't walk away from this without knowing the truth." Everyone froze. Those were the words they'd all been thinking but had been too scared to voice. She ignited their collective thoughts, but what would that lead to? The sirens were still wailing outside, but a new noise infiltrated the air, an engine rumbling nearby, a sound that sent a chill down everyone's spine. Emma's breath caught in her throat. "Do you hear that?" Before she could process the fear swirling within her, the ground shook slightly beneath them. They glanced at one another, realizing something was terribly wrong. What if this was just the beginning? What kind of fight lay ahead? Just as determination sparked in Emma's chest, another crashing sound erupted from above, a terrifying reminder that time was running out. Would they uncover the truth before it was too late? Would they find the strength to face whatever was lurking in the shadows? Emma tightened her grip on Jacob's shoulder, ready to plunge back into the unknown. Emma's heartbeat echoed in her ears as she surveyed the debris-strewn factory. Fear had transformed into a determination that pulsed through her veins. The murmurs around her grew louder, a chorus of uncertainty and courage. "Stay close," she urged Jacob and the others. "If we're going to do this, we do it together." The walls trembled around them, and another loud crash sent bits of dust raining down. "We need to move towards the noise," Emma decided, her voice resolute. "If someone's trapped, we can't leave them." Jacob nodded, eyes wide, but a flicker of doubt flashed across his face. "Okay, but we have to be careful. We still don't know what caused all this." He glanced at the older man they had just freed, who was scrunching his eyes shut, muttering frantically. "Don't you see?" he whispered, voice trembling. "It's them, they're here." Emma bit her lip, wrestling with a mix of skepticism and dread. Who was they? And what danger was lurking beneath the chaos? She could feel the weight of her own emotions pressing down, mixing with the fear clinging to the air. "Let us focus," Emma urged her group, shaking off the unease. "Move that way," she pointed, guiding them towards the sound of muffled cries. The panic hovered, but they steeled themselves, pushing forward through the rubble, knowing each step could lead to salvation or disaster. As they approached the source of the noise, Emma's heart surged. "We're getting closer," she said, the adrenaline blending with hope. She squinted through the clouds of dust and shadows. A glimmer of movement caught her eye. "Over there!" she exclaimed, sprinting forward, shoving aside pieces of debris. The cries grew louder, more desperate. Jacob and others tackled the wreckage beside her, creating a small opening. With one final yank, Emma's heart raced as sunlight pierced through, illuminating the grayness. A younger woman lay trapped beneath a twisted beam. "Help me. Please." Her voice trembled, panic rising. They wasted no time. "Hold on, we've got you," Emma shouted, rallying the group. With their combined strength, they heaved, pushing against the weight, inching it off. The woman gasped, tears streaming down her face. "I thought I would die here." Relief flooded through Emma, bringing a rush of warmth. They freed her, steady hands guiding her out of danger. Just as they embraced her, the factory rumbled again, more violently. "We need to get out," another volunteer shouted, eyes flashing with terror. The ground was shaking underfoot, the walls groaning like a beast awakening. "No," Emma insisted, torn. "We can't leave without uncovering the truth." Her heart raced. Could this be the moment that exposed everything? The truth? The freed woman gasped, racked with emotion. "They're not just after us. They want something bigger." The whines of distant sirens filled the air again, and the urgency wrapped itself around them. Emma gathered a breath. "We can't let the fear swallow us whole, we face it. We have to find answers together." But, as they backed away toward safety, another crash echoed above. Dust swirled, and beams creaked ominously. The factory felt alive, a silent threat dancing around them. Lights from outside flickered as shadows grew long. Would they uncover what lay beneath the surface before they were swallowed by the impending chaos? Emma's fists clenched. "We're not finished yet." The clouds of confusion began to part, revealing glimmers of something dark, a truth hiding just out of reach. What were they about to discover? Emma's heart raced as she grasped the woman's arm, pulling her out from under the debris. The air felt charged, as if the very atmosphere was warning them of what lay ahead. She looked around her makeshift crew. They had become more than just a group of survivors, they were a family united by a shared purpose. "Stay alert," Emma urged. The dull thuds of rubble crumbling echoed in the chaos, resembling a heartbeat steady, threatening, alive. "Emma," Jacob ventured, his voice shaky. "What does she mean by they want something bigger?" The freed woman wiped her tears, a look of horror flooding her features. "They're not just after us, it's not this factory. They're looking for something. Something dangerous." "What?" Emma pressed, her thoughts racing. The fear that had once gripped her now morphed into an insatiable curiosity. Suddenly, a loud crash above them stole their breath. Dust swirled again as a supporting beam broke free, threatening to crush them all. Emma's instincts kicked in. "Run!" she yelled. They scrambled even as debris rained down. Her eyes darted around, searching for an escape route, a glimmer of safety among the darkness. "Over here!" shouted one of the other volunteers, pointing toward a narrow passageway barely visible through the chaos. Emma led the charge, dragging the freed woman along with her, Jacob close behind. As they squeezed through the opening, Emma felt the tension lift a fraction. Still, that unnerving sense of urgency lurked just behind them, as palpable as the dust enveloping their lungs. Bursting into a small room, Emma stumbled, her heart in her throat. It was a storage area, filled with rusted machinery and stacks of forgotten documents. Sunlight filtered through a broken window, illuminating a hidden truth. Emma searched wildly, her fingers fumbling over the papers strewn across a dilapidated table. "This should tell us something," she whispered, her heart thudding loud in her chest. With a desperate urgency, she flipped through pages, catching glimpses of blurred diagrams and infrequent sketches. "What are you looking for?" Jacob asked, peering over her shoulder. "Anything that tells us what they're up to." "Something anything," Emma trailed off, her breath hitching as she found a yellowed document titled Project Helix. They were experimenting with something here. What does this mean? Emma felt both exhilarated and terrified, the truth edging closer yet remaining out of reach. The freed woman leaned in, her eyes widening as she scanned the words. "It can't be, this is huge." Just then, a shadow loomed in the doorway, filling the room with dread. Emma's gut twisted. "Run!" she hollered once more, adrenaline pumping through her veins. They tried to exit through the opposite door as the figure moved closer. But Emma stumbled, and the papers flew from her grip, scattering across the floor like fallen leaves. In that terrifying moment, she understood, whatever they had stumbled upon could change everything. The knowledge hid beneath the rubble, threatening their safety and exposing secrets long buried, but as more crashes sounded deeper into the factory, the fear gripped her again. "We can't let them silence us," she gasped, clenching her fists. "We have to expose this no matter the risk." But would they have the strength to confront the sinister forces at play? Emma's mind spun as an unsettling realization settled in. Was this truly about uncovering the truth, or was it a fight for their lives, a battle against something much larger than any of them had anticipated? With urgency catching her breath, Emma turned to Jacob, the question whispering through the chaos as she met his frantic gaze. "What if this is just the beginning?" Emma's pulse raced as they darted back into the factory's throbbing heart of confusion. The scent of dust mixed with fear hung thick in the air. All she could think about was fleeing, but an odd pull urged her to stay. The papers scattered across the floor caught her eye, fluttering like desperate cries for attention, and she fought the urge to grab them. "Emma, we need to go," Jacob urged, eyes wide with impending panic. The shadow lurking in the doorway shifted. It seemed to stretch and reach for her, a dark omen of what was to come. Emma shook her head, trying to clear it. "No. We have to figure this out, what's really happening here." The freed woman, still shaken but now urgent, glanced at the documents. "You don't understand, this isn't just about us. It's about secrets that they'll do anything to keep hidden." Emma could almost feel the weight of those secrets pressing down, suffocating. Thoughts clashed violently in her mind, battling against the instinct to flee. She felt the group's eyes on her, waiting for guidance. "Okay," she breathed, "we can't leave without knowing what this is." "We'll figure it out together," Jacob echoed, trying to instill courage even in himself. The moment hung suspended as they glanced back at the doorway. The shadow hadn't moved, and silence enveloped them like a heavy blanket. Emma took a step closer to the table littered with the crumpled papers. "We can't let fear win," she said, steeling her voice. "If we can just understand what they're after, we might find a way out of this alive." Her resolve inspired a flicker of determination in the others. As they gathered the scattered papers, Emma's fingers brushed over a diagram, lines intertwining, an intricate web she couldn't begin to decipher. But in the center, there was a jagged symbol that felt oddly familiar. Her heart raced. "Wait, what? What is it?" Jacob asked, leaning in closer. "This emblem. I know it from somewhere," she murmured, flipping the document carefully, her heart thumping with recognition. The freed woman's brow furrowed as she stepped closer. "That's the sign from the old research facility, the one that was supposed to have been shut down." Emma's mind raced, visions of the stories she'd heard from her father as a kid bled into focus. What if they're trying to revive whatever they were working on? Another crash echoed through the factory, shaking the ground. The air filled with dust, stinging their eyes. "We need to hurry," Jacob urged, glancing at the door. A shiver coursed through Emma. "No. We can't run blindly. We have to be smart." She gathered the documents. "This is our best chance to expose them. If we can piece together what they're after, maybe we can stop them." The urgency in the air shifted to confusion, but Emma's voice held steady. "We can't afford to underestimate whatever this is. They're hiding something powerful, and we might just have the key." The shadows shifted again, the sound of footsteps echoing from the far end of the hallway. Panic bubbled in her chest. "They're coming. We need to move. Now." As they raced for the exit, Emma clutched the papers like lifelines, fear still gnawing at her but ignited by a fierce flame of hope. They barreled through the narrow passageway, but the thundering sound of their pursuers grew closer. "Stay together," she bellowed, nearly losing Jacob in the chaos. "We can't let them take us down." Emerging from the darkness of the factory felt like stepping into an uncertain light. The weight of what lay ahead loomed, but Emma knew one thing for sure: they had to face whatever came next, united as one. The echoes of their team replayed in her mind. "This is huge. It's about secrets." But just as they neared the exit, another figure stepped from the shadows. This one was different, eyes cold, a knowing smirk. "Thought you could escape so easily?" The voice slithered towards them, flooding Emma's veins with ice. The darkness felt suffocating once more, overshadowed only by a single chilling thought: what had they truly unearthed? What would it cost them, this knowledge they now held? Emma's heart raced as she took in the figure blocking their escape. The smirk on the man's face felt like ice slicing through the fragile bond of hope they had fought to keep alive. She caught a glimpse of his sleek suit and polished shoes, symbols of power that made her stomach churn. "Who are you?" she demanded, trying to project strength, but her voice quivered slightly. He chuckled, a sound devoid of warmth. "That's hardly important, Emma. What matters is what you have in your hands." His gaze dropped to the documents crumpled tightly in her grip like a child clinging to their security blanket. Jacob moved closer to Emma, his face a mask of defiance. "We're not afraid of you. We brave words, but do you really understand what you're up against?" The man stepped forward, his confidence oozing around them like fog. "You think you can just walk away with this information? These secrets are buried for a reason." Emma could feel the threat in his words, a smothering weight pulling her down. But something inside her stirred, an ember of defiance fueled by the stories of courage she'd grown up with. "We have to expose you. You can't hide forever." "Ah, but we can," he replied coolly. "You have no idea how deep this goes. The game you're playing is far more dangerous than you realize." As he spoke, the sound of footfalls echoed again from the factory, heavy and foreboding. Time felt as if it were grinding to a halt. Every second lingered, stretching out into a taut string of fear and uncertainty. Emma started to back away, trying to navigate a path through the shadows. "Let us go," Jacob urged, desperation feeding his words. But Emma hesitated, awareness flickering in her mind. "What if we could turn this around?" she whispered to herself, piecing together her swirling thoughts. "What if we could use this information to our advantage?" The man watched her, an eyebrow raised, intrigued. "I wonder, Emma, what's your next move?" Before she could respond, the freed woman stepped up, her voice steady despite the tremors of fear she exuded. "We're more than you give us credit for. If there's one thing we know, it's that ignorance is the biggest risk. We want to stay silent. Brave talk, but desperation often leads to mistakes." He took a step back, seemingly amused. Emma caught Jacob's eye, sharing a silent moment of understanding. They had come this far, there was no turning back now. It was time to confront the shadows and claw their way into the light. "We're going to take this fight to you. You've underestimated us, and we won't let you keep your secrets safe anymore." The man's expression shifted, a flicker of annoyance crossing his features. "You three are playing with fire," he warned, stepping back further into the shadowy recesses of the factory, the exit looming like a distant star they desperately needed to chase. "What are you hiding?" Emma shouted as he retreated, grounded by a surge of determination. "You don't get to decide what we can or can't know." But he only laughed softly before disappearing completely into the enveloping darkness. Emma felt both exhilarated and frightened. The stakes had just been raised. "Do you think we can really take them on?" Jacob asked, doubt creeping into his tone. "We have to," Emma replied, clutching the papers tightly. "We can't let them intimidate us. We'll gather what we need and then we'll expose them." The air crackled with tension as they burst through the factory doors and into the pale moonlight, the uncertainty of what lay ahead whispering against their skin. They had uncovered a piece of a dangerous puzzle, and the final picture was still out of reach, but Emma was sure of one thing: the secrets would not fade away silently. With every step, she could feel the path opening before them, fraught with danger yet glimmering with the promise of truth. What horrors would they uncover next, and at what cost? The journey had only just begun. As sunlight broke through the morning haze, illuminating the chaos of the factory, Emma could sense the weight of the moments that lay ahead pressing on her shoulders. Certainly, they had dug deep and unearthed secrets that fought to remain buried. The whispers of fear and uncertainty curled around her, but so did the fire of resolve. "Emma," Jacob's voice pulled her from her thoughts, "are we really ready for what might be next?" Emma turned, seeing determination etched on each face around her. She felt their fear as her own, but it blended with an overwhelming sense of the community's strength. "We need to be," she replied, her voice strong. "We've already seen the cost of silence. Today is just the beginning." The freed woman, still catching her breath, piped up, "We need to move fast. If they find out we have these documents, they'll do everything to stop us." The urgency in her tone inspired a shared nod through the group. With newfound determination, they gathered in a huddle, Emma leading the charge. "We'll take these documents to the community center. We can organize a meeting, share our findings. They need to hear what we've uncovered. Together, we can stand against this." Jacob chimed in, "Let us call local reporters. This needs coverage. We can't let it slip under the radar." A chorus of agreements thrummed around her, sparking the motley crew into action. Holding the crumpled papers close, Emma felt an electric current of purpose shoot through her. They moved out of the factory, following the path that twisted towards the community center, hearts pounding with captivating energy. As they burst through the doors, the smell of fresh coffee mingled with warm pastries, but there was no time to savor comforts. Community members lingered, chatting, but their conversations faltered as Emma's team entered, determination etched on their faces. "Everyone!" Emma called, standing tall atop a chair. A wave of apprehension washed over her audience. "We need your attention." The room quieted, an unwavering focus shifting toward her. "We've uncovered something important about the factory," she began, her pulse quickening. "The conditions there are dangerous. We've seen it firsthand, and we cannot remain silent anymore." The texture of fear rippled through the room. She continued, "Authorities are hiding the truth from us. If we stand together, we can demand answers." Gasps filled the air, and murmurs started to line the walls. Emma met their wide eyes, reflections of her own nerves, but she could also see flickers of hope sparking behind despondence. "We can fight this. Let us launch a petition, organize a demonstration, get our voices heard." "Do you really think we can change things?" A worried voice interjected from the back of the room. Emma took a deep breath, a weight settling firmly on her heart. "We have to try. If we don't speak up for ourselves, who will? We can't let fear silence us anymore." Empowered by her words, the room filled with newfound energy. One by one, hands shot up, pledging support and resources. Soon, voices echoed through the center, declaring that they, too, would join the initiative. In that stirring moment, Sarah appeared, having heard the chatter. She stepped forward, her gaze firm. "I'm committed to this. Let us work side by side. I can tap into corporate resources local businesses want to help. We want to let them control our futures." Cheers erupted around the community center, each clap building resonance. Emma felt tears well in her eyes, a kaleidoscope of emotions whirled through her, moments of fear intertwining with undeniable hope. Together, she implored, "We can make a change." As they began discussing plans, forming committees and outreach ideas, Emma marveled at how far they had come. Just days ago, she was a timid girl forging through her struggles, and now, surrounded by the warmth of her community, she saw the light of transformation. The journey wasn't over, but they now stood united, ready to confront whatever darkness loomed ahead. They had found the strength to speak out, to demand justice, and they would not back down. As the sun dipped lower, casting vibrant hues across the horizon, a new chapter began, filled with courage, resilience, and unwavering determination. Emma felt a vibrant pulse of hope as they rallied, their voices weaving a tapestry of community, bound by shared dreams and relentless spirit. This is just the beginning. Together, they would uncover the shadows and bring light to their truths, ensuring that their community thrived. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm seriously, it makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending below. Your voice matters. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Join us. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.